compilations of cheating stories across Reddit. First of all, I want to thank you for watching my video, and if it's not too much, could you leave a like and a comment? Story 1. My husband's affair partner passed, and it seems like I'm expected to give a reaction. We've been married for over a decade, but at some point I found out he'd been cheating on me for 3 years with an ex, his first love whose parents didn't let them get married. She tried to break up our wedding, and his whole family kept that a secret from me up until the affair had revealed. To keep it short, a lot of crap went down, and she said some really vicious and awful things to me. She absolutely hated me and thought I didn't deserve her man, that I'm ugly and I smell and so much other stuff. We ended up staying together. For the kids. I'm still healing and don't think the love will ever be the same for my husband, but I chose to forgive and maintain normalcy for the sake of my kids. Things are going okay. However, I was informed by a mutual friend that the woman passed away a few days ago. We are all under 35, so it's definitely kind of shocking. And the person who told me knows the hell I went through and the emotional turmoil, but they've never been cheated on, so they'd never really know how it feels, and is going on about how bizarre it is and they feel terrible and asking me if I'm okay. I'm not sure if the purpose is to elicit a reaction from me or if they're genuinely concerned. I have no emotional ties to this woman, nor do I feel I owe her anything. He found out this morning and said something like, "Well, you're probably not sad." I was like, if you had left me for her and received such news, would you expect her to be sad for me? Am I the asshole for not being devastated or even really that upset? He literally left the house, leaving me with 2 screaming kids to make a private phone call to her brother-in-law to find out what happened. Is that not supposed to get under my skin? And now for the comments. Your best strategy is to act indifferent. Don't get angry with your husband. Just ignore his upset. If anyone asks you about how you feel, just tell them, aside from you knowing she hated you, you didn't really know her at all. In about a month or so, you should tell your husband you want a divorce and tell him he never had a right to destroy your marriage with his crap. Then walk away. Now he doesn't have anyone to run to. He'll be a perfect husband. Why wait a month? Do it tomorrow. The kids know. The guy will find someone else to cheat with. He keeps breaking your boundaries. Now he will make you look like the bad guy because you aren't upset or won't allow him to mourn properly. Think about yourself and kids. You will never be first and will now compete with a ghost. Right. I tell him flat out, I'm not upset. I'm learning a new dance routine for atop her grave. Story 2. My wife, 42, and I, 44, have been married for 19 years. We have been together for 25 years. We have 3 great kids under the age of 14. In 2015, she lost her mother to cancer, and in 2016, her father to cancer. This sends her into a deep depression. For the following 2 years, I took care of the kids while she worked. Dead bedroom starts during this time. Nothing makes her happy. Now, because she doesn't talk to me, I start playing video games when the kids go to bed. After 2 years, she starts coming out of her depression. She talks more and wants to do stuff with the family. We start being physical again. This went on for a year, then I lost my father. This sent me into a depression because we were very close. Like my wife, I closed myself off to her. I started playing video games more and I ignored my wife. I never stopped saying I love you or giving hugs or take her out. We start sleeping in different rooms because our son had a medical condition where we had to keep eye on him at night. So I slept in his room. I moved my Xbox in there and played video games for a couple of hours till I fell asleep. Then COVID happens. My kid's school goes remote and my wife started working from home. My wife's job required her to start looking for supplies to reopen her business when the restriction stops. She starts working closely with another member of her company. After a few months, she starts being distant and stops communicating with me. I try to keep telling her I love her and buying small gifts to show my love and appreciation. We decided that 2021 school we would keep our kids at home to remote learn because our son had a serious medical condition. I was so busy with kids' school, I really didn't notice the distance getting worse until much later. Dead bedroom starts again. Then in the summer of 2021, I started to work for Lyft because we needed extra money. I worked on the days she works from home so she could be close to our son's school. In the fall of 2021, I picked up this lady from the airport and drive her to her hotel downtown. During this ride, she talks to her female friend on the phone about her meeting her AP to have sex because they are both in town for business. She said her husband at home with kids and is playing video game. They haven't had sex in over a year. He is too busy to know she's cheating. I start thinking this sounds like us. So I started being more affectionate and more loving. I'm already a loving and affectionate person. Nothing distance is getting worse. I write a letter telling her I love her, and I know there is distance between us. I want to work it out, but she has to willing to work on us. She said she will try to be better. For the next year, she shows hardly any affection and doesn't want sex because her depression pills given her no sex drive. We barely hold hands, don't say she loves me unless I say it first. When we are in the car together, she sleeps, so she doesn't talk. D-Day was May 4th of this year. My wife went into the office. I went to work and I was texting her during the day, no response. Then she finally called me, and I tell her I have been texting her all day. She tells me she never got my text because of the signal in her office. She has Google Chat, so I will message her there. It will show up on her work computer. No responses. She gets home, and after we put the kids to sleep, she takes a shower. This is where I finally broke down and checked her phone. Now May 4th is a big Star Wars day. May the 4th be with you. So I check her texts from me. It's true, she didn't get them until she left the office. I check Google Chat. This is where I found her cheating. She woke up this day and messaged him on Google Chat all the May the 4th gifts. I am a Star Wars fan also. Did I get one? Absolutely not. So I checked all their messages, and the affair has been going on for almost 3 years. There was tons of I miss you and I love you. I feel so stupid. I am completely devastated. This guy's moved to Kansas in 2020, but comes into office 1 week a month since he works remote the other weeks. I guess when they would have Zoom meetings with each other to get their business open, he began to flirt. In the past, guys would flirt with her, she would shot them down. This guy's wasn't as handsome as me. I'm not a 10, I have a little dad bod. Maybe I'm a 6 or 7, he was definitely a 4. She began to flirt back then. They would go to lunch together. Then the lunches turned to going to his hotel room for lunchtime sex and tell me she had worked late to have more sex. I even saw a text to her friend saying the sex wasn't better. She just craves the attention. So I'll screenshot everything to myself. I didn't say anything. I was having surgery in the summer and needed her help. After surgery, we had decided to move closer to family. She barely helped me look for houses. I checked her phone again in October. I guess the relationship came to an end in June before my surgery. He was mad that she was taking time to care of me and the kids. I was wondering why she became more affectionate and loving and wanting to have sexy time with me after I healed. Last week we got a huge argument because she started being distant and wasn't communicating again. So I yelled and told her I knew she cheated with a coworker. She denied and said I was overreacting. Then I shoved the evidence in her face. Then she stopped yelling and putting me down and started crying. I just left and went to my sister's house. I came back home to be with the kids for Christmas. Then I will leave again. I told her I am filing for divorce after the new year. She cried and asked who will drive her to work and pick her up, who will help her with the kids. I told her to ask the affair partner. Then she starts crying more, saying we can work it out, do marriage counseling. I will seek full custody when I file the divorce paperwork, also alimony and child support. 25 years I feel is wasted. And now for the comments. You are doing the right thing. But in addition to a lawyer, I suggest you find a therapist just for you who specializes in trauma. She should find one that specializes in infidelity, but that is on her to do. Look into ayahuasca ceremonies, preferably outside of the States. Therapy is at times helpless when faced with such evil deeds. Stay away from pills. Look up any ayahuasca retreat or 5meont/Bufo retreat. OP responded, "You really think ayahuasca helps get over the trauma of infidelity? Interested to know your thoughts and experiences on the matter. Have done DMT, blasted off smoking in a bulb pina, but no Aya or 5meont. A few years ago out of my marriage to a narcissist, and it messed me up. I am much better now, but the betrayal really still triggers me at times, especially when reading similar account here. Interested in what you have to say the least? Thanks. One love." Speaking from personal experience, which is certainly subjective, yes, absolutely, all ceremonies with intent of healing with proper supervision have been absolutely fundamental. Myself was treating parental abuse issues, which quite often spill into personal relationships. Have been next to folks who forever quit heavy narcotics abuse from continuing spiritual healing. DMTs, psilocybin, mescaline, ketamine, and others are merely a kind vessel. Things mentioned here are also considered to be a huge shortcut, but that's another subject altogether. As for the question of, Does Aya help people get over their issues? Absolutely. Story 3. Found my wife cheating with my brother. I'm military and live on a military installation. Me and my wife have been married just over 2 years. We just had a son, and he is 3 months old. My wife has this terrible drinking problem. If she drinks liquor of any kind, she's like a demon. Like something is mentally wrong with her when she drinks. She's had this problem ever since we have gotten together. But over time, it has just gotten so much worse. She will break TVs, punch me, kick me, slap me, force sex, and then beat me again until she passes out on the floor and pisses herself. One time she went to the neighbor's house around 2 a.m. and woke them up to try and make friends. They called the police on her. Just an example of the nightmare she becomes while drinking. I refused to buy her liquor. Beer and wine seemed to be okay, but occasionally if she could find a way to get liquor she would. And there is no getting the bottle away from her. After I finished my first contract, we moved duty stations. I invited my brother to live with us and pay rent so that he could grow up and get out of my mother's house. I figured this would be the best way for him to learn responsibility. He is pretty much a loser, but he got a job and paid rent on time. I only made him pay half of what it costs him to live here so that he could save up enough to move out and start his own life. He's been with us for a year now. Fast forward to 2 weeks ago, he got fired. He is also an alcoholic and has to drink himself to sleep because he has insomnia. The three of us usually got along pretty well. We would play board games, disc golf, and cook for each other. But she had recently been hanging out with him in his room every so often because he has liquor. I expressed the issues to both of them. I have threatened divorce if she kept drinking, and things were fine again after one shitty night. Last night she had a bottle of cheap wine, which is usually fine. We had sex and then she took a bath at around 1 a.m. I fell asleep while she was in there, only to wake up to my son screaming 2 hours later. I take care of him and put him to sleep. She's nowhere to be found. Walk into my brother's room and boom, there she is, in his arms and on his chest. I can't feel. I can't think. I can't breathe. I don't know what to do. I kicked my brother out without letting him grab anything. I told him to effing run, and he did. She won't stop crying. My son won't stop crying, and I'm in a world of pain. And now for the comments. Sorry, OP. The only answer is to DNA test your kid. File for divorce and keep that POS brother out of your life. I second this. DNA test, STD test, lawyer up, paternity test. For real, that may be the hardest one to face. My condolences for you and your losses. OP responded. Thank you all for the comments, help, and suggestions. She went to a friend's house. She did me dirty and has friends, family, and support. But right here, this Reddit post is the only support I have. Thank you all. Story 4. Found a used condom wrapper on my girlfriend dresser last night after having sex with her, and we don't use condoms. Is she cheating? I was having sex with my girlfriend of 1 year. We've been having a rocky 2 weeks, trying to work things out, and I haven't been around her as much these last 2 weeks after I had sex with her. When I want to go wipe off, I looked on her dresser and found a ripped piece of condom wrapper. After showing her the piece, she completely looked shocked and tried to say it was a year ago from cleaning out her dresser. So after her saying that, look under her bed and the other piece of the torn condom wrapper, once I showed her that, she got up and started acting like nothing happened and trying to kiss on me and saying that's old from her previous relationship. Mind you, we don't use condoms at all, so me telling her to get off of me, I look into her cabinet and find a brand new box of condoms with 3 condoms missing inside from there. I flip out and push her off of me and leave her house immediately. She's trying to make me sound like I'm crazy, but am I really crazy? Why would she have a torn piece of condom wrapper on her dresser and then the other piece under her bed if she hasn't cleaned her room in about a year? I don't buy anything she has to say. Should I give her a chance or run far away from her? My guess is you have been in the room many times in the last year and didn't see either. And then to have the box in her bathroom with multiple condoms missing. She definitely has been cheating, and she just didn't pay attention and got complacent. One of the reasons things have been rocky is she has been entertaining at least one other guy. My only words for her would be, I never thought you could be so low. I thought you were GF material, but clearly you never were. Then tell all your mutual friends and watch at least one of her friends contact you and tell you the rest of the story. I would also get an STD test. Story 5. She called the cops when I found out she cheated. Started dating in 2010, and recently I found out my wife cheated on me the first 4 years of us dating. I went in my attic one day and found a bag of old cell phones she kept over the years. I charged one of them up and I found a screenshot that she saved of a conversation between her and her ex that was marked June 2014. At the time I found out she was at work, so when I called on her lunch break and told her what I just found, she got upset but didn't deny it. So after I hung up the phone, I headed straight to work with all of the cell phones. She continued to call me non-stop while at work, but I continued to ignore her. She then decided to leave her job 2 hours early, just so she can sit outside of my job and wait for me to come outside. Then an hour later, her mother shows up to my job and starts standing outside the exit door asking staff if they can contact me. With her and her mother having no success contacting me, they decide to call the police department to come to my job and receive her items. The police came into my job, confiscated the phones, and returned them back to her. To make a long story short as possible, she admitted to sleeping with 4 guys in the first 4 years of us dating. We are now married with kids, oldest being 3, in our early 30s. I've already accepted the fact that I'm no longer in love with her and plan on moving on accordingly. But my question is, why would someone call the cops over old affairs and old cell phones? Which leaves me to believe there's something more than that. But I guess I'll never know. And now for the comments. Better get a DNA test on the kids. Secret could be in the phones. Op responded, that's done already. Both kids are mine. Probably currently cheating. OP. True.